And so I'm sure I probably made some enemies along the way, but I think overall people really respected what we were doing. And, you know, we were putting Meharry's program out into the community. We were doing, you know, health screenings and info sessions and, you know, for our med students and dental students, what is public health? Because we interacted and passed each other day to day, but they never understood, like, what an MPH was or what it meant or, like, what is it that you guys are going to do when you graduate?
Right.
Like, I think, like a lot of sort of young African Americans, it's physician, dentist, and there are very few of nurse, right? But there are other few health-related occupations, and so we did a lot of education of even our peers or even some of the faculty, like, what is an MPH? What does it mean? What is the outlook? What types of jobs do we have? What type of roles do we play? So I felt like Meharry was 2 full-time jobs. One being a student, and also just trying to increase the visibility of the program, trying to convince people that the program is important, and if you want to recruit high-caliber students, then you need to take the time to get the program accredited. And so we did everything in our power to sort of help facilitate that process. So it ended up, you know, me being in Nashville for 8 years, 7 or 8 years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And while I was at Meharry, I went in very focused on cardiovascular events. I didn't want to touch cancer. I felt like it was just way too close to my experience with my dad. But somehow, every opportunity I got was in cancer. And so I ended up spending a lot of time back over at the Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center, working with Chuck Matthews, who's now at NCI, working on cancer survivorship issues and breast cancer. And eventually I just said, you know what, I think I'm one of those people that lives by things happen for a reason. And I was like, you know, maybe this happened for a reason because this is the area I'm supposed to be in. And had not it been for this experience, then this is not where I would be. So let me just take the opportunities as they come, and it's my contribution back to society. I had this really bad thing happen to me, but if this bad experience helps me to help someone else, then at the end of the day, you know, it's worthwhile. And I still sort of think that and believe that, and
yeah.
So that was Nashville.
Yeah. Actually, we funded your program.
Really?
I did minority HIV for CDC, and I also did the Tuskegee programs. And I had as a side project the development of MPH programs at HBCU.
Oh, wow.
So actually I left CDC, went to Morehouse and started the first one.
Okay.
That got CEF accredited. And then funded Bill Washington and several other MPH programs at HBCU. Because once we proved that you could create an MPH program at an HBCU, the others, FAMU and all the others fell in line.
Howard, yep.
But some of them were more difficult. Howard was the most difficult. Meharry was a little difficult. Yeah. So that's our situation's connected in a lot of ways. That's kind of interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm definitely, looking back on it, I don't regret my Vanderbilt experience. I think it taught me a lot. And even though Meharry was difficult, I don't regret my Meharry experience either, because my best friends are the group of 8 women.
Right.
We lean on each other all the time. Hey, I'm looking for a job and such. Do you know anybody? Like, in part, I got my position at Emory because my friend from Meharry had a colleague at CDC who was Viola's postdoc. And so, we still talk. We've gone to each other's weddings and baby showers, etc. So that, I think, is the biggest reason I'm happy to Meharry, to have those relationships sort of long term, and just to have insight about HBCUs and how they operate. Because one day I would like to be affiliated again with the HBCU, but I'd rather go into it eyes wide open, knowing what to expect. And I think that the Meharry experience has given me that.
And I hope that you do that. I in addition to starting the MPH program at Morehouse School of Medicine, we also created the Public Health Sciences Institute at Morehouse College. And that has been one of the most positive experiences I've had. CDC has been funding that institute for 32 years, I think it is. So yeah, right. Yeah, we've trained 1,100 students in epidemiology and biostatistics now. You know, so I hope that one day maybe you come over and talk to our students too. Now that I know you, yeah, right.
All-time favorite thing to do is just to chat with students.
Good. Okay. Well, you'll be getting an invitation next year to come over.
I'm happy to.
Good. Okay. All right. So
can I just ask, what years were you at Meharry?
05 to 07.
Okay. And then you stayed in Nashville after that?
No, I went straight to UNC.
Okay.
So I graduated Vandy in 05, I graduated Meharry in 07, and then went straight in for my doctorate. So I never took a break during school.
yeah, neither did I.
It just...
And what led you to UNC?
So a couple of things. One, I knew I wanted to get my PhD, but Meharry also wasn't accredited. And so I think this was one of the big pushes because my GREs were awesome. I had done well in the coursework. I had advocates at the Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center, Dr. Matthews, who thought that I was outstanding. And when I went to a PHA in 2006, November of 06, you know, the different schools have their information booths.
Right, exactly.
And so as I was, you know, talking to the schools, and we went, all 8 of us went, we had folders with our business cards inside, with our CVs, and like we were like, we're going to be prepared for this because we know we're going to get pushback about the accreditation. There were several schools, Emory included, that were like, they're not CEIF accredited. And that was it, shut down the conversation. And so we went back to Meharry like, we're trying to go to the next step in our education, and because you all haven't taken the time to do this, we're getting doors closed in our face. And I think that really resonated with the administration at Meharry, because of course they want to say, oh, our students have gone on and gotten doctorates or this job or that job. And so UNC, Harvard, UAB, and South Carolina were the 4 schools where, you know, CEIF accreditation matters, but we'll still consider. So I still applied to Emory, didn't get in. I love telling them this. And I applied to Harvard and UAB and University of South Carolina. And I made the decision to go to UNC for a couple of reasons. One, they had just gotten, was it that like cancer from the state, like the cancer fund, like the $50 million cancer fund. And so I was a cancer student. And then Andy Ocean put me on a training grant, straight out. Like I didn't call and inquire about funding or anything. I got a letter. Literally, I was sitting with my family after Vanderbilt's graduation at a restaurant and pulled out the letter because I had gotten all the mail out my mailbox before leaving campus. And sitting there having lunch and read the letter, and it said, you know, congratulations, we're going to put you on this training grant. And so with that, I was sold. I was like, I'm in debt, not from Vanderbilt, from Meharry. And to have a training grant coming in, I think is really a nice opportunity.
Yeah.
Other things about UNC, the man that I worked with, Chuck Matthews, was mentoring a student who worked with Meharry Gannon. And so I was able to talk to that student, and Meharry was doing things that I was really interested in, and having worked with him more on the behavioral side of epi, I thought, you know, I do want to get more biologic because I was obviously pre-med. I liked biology. I didn't want it to be my life. And UNC was known for molecular epi. You know, Bob Milliken was there. Andy was doing molecular things. Carrie North was there. And so Chuck Peru was there. And so there was just this robust emphasis on etiology, but considering molecular mechanisms, considering genetics, et cetera. And so I felt like it was a good fit for me to go on and continue to pursue cancer because I had just decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do, but also to pick up new skills along the way. And I have this really nice research agenda that I like to show my students. And it basically shows how at my center core, I really think about obesity and physical activity. But along the way, I've picked up these other things like cancer, like genetics, omics, et cetera. And those things that I picked up have really been driven by the institutions that I'm at. And so I think as a student, I got this bright idea, which I think served me well, is if you're going to an institution to be educated, take the skills or the knowledges of that institution and add that to your skills and knowledges. And so I felt like going to UNC, if Bob Milliken's there and Chuck Peru and all these people that are world renowned for genetics and molecular epi, then I need to be learning with them because I'm not going to get this skill anywhere else. And so that's why I decided on UNC. It was the funding and the people and the skills. And when I talked to Meharry on the phone, she just seemed really welcoming and really sort of encouraging. And when I talked to students at Harvard, they said it was competitive. And I was like, been there, done that at Vanderbilt, don't want to do that again. Let's try a different institution this time. So I had gone to the private school, I had gone to HBCU, let's go to a big public school and sort of see what that's like. And it was also in the South. Not super close to home, 6 hours, but near home. I could get home if I needed to. Which was also important because my mom was still left with my brother, who at the time my dad passed was 11. And so she was still raising him by herself. And so I felt like I needed to be close because if she needed me, I needed to be able to get back to her. And my mom's parents passed when I was like 7, and she was the only child. So she really didn't have a ton of other support except for my dad's family, but they were having such a hard time dealing with my dad's death that they also were kind of hands off. And so it was just me, my mom, and my brother.
Now, your brother was 11, so you were 19 then.
I was 19.
So that was before you went to UNC.
That was when I was at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was young.
Yeah.
It was really young.
Yeah.
To have sort of that experience.
Yeah. I'm just fascinated with this similarity on some issues and stuff like that. Yeah. I was recruited to UNC from Georgetown after Morehouse. After Morehouse, 2 weeks later I was here at Emory. Not good. Georgetown was good, very supportive, and then Carolina recruited me from Georgetown. And at first I wasn't sure about North Carolina because this is much earlier than your experience.
Yeah.
But everybody's kept saying, y'all come back, you hear? So I came back. But I've had the experience at Harvard and UNC, and if they are very different, but they had different strengths too. So, UNC was a better fit for me because there was a strong emphasis on biostatistics and methodology.
Right.
And Harvard talked about policy a lot, even in the biostat department where I was. And, like people would want to discuss, assumptions in some tests. And I was saying, discuss? What are you talking about? This is the way you do it.
It is. 1 plus 1 is 2.
Right, so that's a different approach. Both of them were good, though. Both of them were good. So, you went to UNC in cancer. Well, first of all, are you familiar with the Houston program in cancer for minorities? Lovell Jones, it's one of those. Oh, okay.
ACR.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot about the program.
Yeah, it's the longest summer program on minority health in the country. Okay. I think it runs for over a week.
Okay.
And they have the names. It's just amazing the people he's able to get to go to Houston for a week and talk. Unfortunately, students don't tend to take advantage of all these names that he brings in, and I'm not sure I understand why.
Yeah.
But it's a great program, and it's specifically in cancer as well.
Okay.
So yeah. Because it started out at MD Anderson Cancer Center for many years, and then shifted to more general from different institutions. So you're now at UNC and you're working in cancer, and how was your experience there? Yeah.
So UNC was interesting because even when my now husband and I went to visit, we were looking for apartments, etc. Just the people, like everyone was like, hey, like just random strangers. Everyone's so nice.
That's exactly right. Thank you.
This is strange. And we're from the South, right? I'm from Georgia, my husband's from Mississippi. So like in the South, like you're used to people being hospitable, but like everyone was speaking, I was like, this is weird. So during orientation, UNC brings in these massive cohorts of doctoral MPH/PhD or doctoral students. And so there are 40 people, and it's a lot. There are 4, I think, African Americans in my class. one had a PhD, one was an MD getting an MPH through Duke's program, and then two of us, well, I was the only one that had a master's getting a PhD, and then there was a student that was an PhD student, so the little trajectory.
Who were the others in your cohort?
So my immediate friends, Saran Yamsiri, Sarah Ray.
Whoa, Serini?
Saran Yamsiri.
Oh, Serini Yamsiri,
Sarah Ray, who was a vet. Christina Ludema. And then other people in my cohort, Alex Klein, is that how you say
Alex
it?
Klein.
And then Katie, can't even think of Katie's, O'Brien.
But the African Americans.
Oh, the African American student. So it was myself, Shantae Bertillez, Tiana, can't remember her last name, and then Kristen, not Nielsen.
Black? Which Kristen? There are three, all of them were my, but go ahead.
Kristen.
Not Black, because if she's an MCH.
That's right, Black is MCH.
More.
Right.
This, Moore, yes, Moore, Kristen Moore.
Yeah. She and her husband were students of mine, and she was at Spelman, he was at Morehouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I actually met her husband too at a
right.
event they had.
Yeah.
So those were the four. Shantae left after 2 years because she had to go back to clinic. I actually don't know if she ever finished. Tiana, I think, just got her master's, so after 2 years she was left. So it was really just in that cohort that sort of stuck around. It was just myself and Kristen. And so it was just nice, I think, to see other people that looked like me in the program. So that was my first sort of a reaction. Then my second reaction was the one I mentioned, Saran Yamsiri, who was Thai. Like the first day, she just came up to me and we just started talking, and we walked around campus because she was a UNC undergrad, so she was just showing me like where things were. I was super frustrated by the bus system at UNC, like totally frustrated that I couldn't figure out when they were coming. This is before they had the app and all of that good stuff. So she was just giving me tips and tricks about the bus, and then a group of people decided to walk over. It may have been a Chick-fil-A. I don't know. Walk over towards the hospital and get lunch, and there like almost immediately there was this sort of like community, and of course you sort of break off into your little groups. And so my group, it was really nice because it was Tiana and Shantae, the two African American women that eventually stopped after 2 years, and then Saran, Sarah, Christina, and I. And we studied together, we went through classes together, we checked each other's homework, we all terrified of taking Charlie Poole's 715 class. So we were like, we have got a system, we are going to figure this thing out. And that's what it was. It was us working together.
Yeah.
Which was totally different than my Vanderbilt experience, but it also reminded me of my Meharry experience. And so I felt like when I got to UNC, I felt like I got the best of both worlds. Here's a top-notch program in what I'm trying to do, but it also feels like there's a community. There are people I can talk to. I talked to Meharry first few days in, and she was like, okay, I know you're assigned to me, I know you want to do cancer, I know you like physical activity, but go talk to other people. Like, go away, figure out what you want. And so on my agenda every week, I had a new faculty person I needed to talk with. And I appreciated her doing that because, faculty are busy. Like, I know that now. Right. And so she was really like, take the time to make sure that I'm the right fit, and also just to see what else is out there, because you think you're interested in one thing, but you never know, you may change your mind. And so she really took the time to do that. She was like, these are my previous students, go talk to them about what it's like to work with me. And through that sort of interaction, I developed my own mentoring team, I like to call them, of senior students, where when I was getting ready to pick classes, hey guys, what classes should I be taking? And they're like, oh, don't take this when you're taking that, because then you'll never sleep. Like, take this, and then next semester take that, or don't put these two people on your dissertation committee because they don't really get along. Like, all those insights that you just don't know, and you can't even ask your faculty mentor about it. Like, only the students know. And it was Meharry that said, these are some really good students, go talk to them. And we meet probably twice a semester.
We, meaning?
Myself and the students,
and
the senior students, and they say, okay, what do you have going on? Like, let's give you advice. So that was really helpful for me, and I think it made my navigation.
Who were your mentoring students?
So my mentoring students were Sarah Cohen, Sarah Nayate, who was Bob's student, and Patrick Bradshaw. And Patrick and I still talk, like we just emailed 2 days ago. So those three were sort of my student mentors. I think they were 2 to 3 years ahead of me. Patrick eventually ended up being on my dissertation committee because Bob passed about 4 weeks before I defended. But it was a really good experience. I mean, classes were tough, obviously, but
Who was your 710 instructor? The intro? Oh, did you not take the intro?
I took the intro. I'm trying to remember who the instructor was.
Was it Wayne Rosenman then, or Jim Thomas?
I can't remember. I'm sure I have it written down somewhere.
Okay.
And then 705, 715 was Charlie. For 718, I had Jay Kaufman and David Richardson. And then I was there the inaugural year that Steve Cole did 722, which is a bit of a mess, but
That was quite an experience, I gather.
yeah. He was trying to figure things out. We were trying to figure things out, so go figure. But got through my classes, got through qualifyings, and I never felt like at UNC I was like the brightest of the bunch. I think at UNC there was this very sort of stark divide between those students that were really interested in methods and the methodologic approach, and then those students that were just really interested in the research question.
Right, that's true.
And I fell into that really interested in the research question group. But one of the women in my working group, Christina Ludema, was amazing at methods, and she worked with Steve Cole, etc. And so I could always lean on her to ask questions. But I just told my PhD students, because I'm teaching a class, is that you don't have to be the smartest and the best at everything. You take the skills and the talents that you have and you apply them. And the skill, hands down, that I have that is better than